Okay, we are going to do the Food Web test prep test cards here. We are going to make corrections using our claim evidence reasoning, making sure that we use complete sentences in each of the boxes. Here we're going to put our claim, so the answer to the question. The evidence is our facts from science. This can be a definition of vocabulary. It could be a fact that we know. And then reasoning is, how does the evidence support our claim? How does that justify that our claim is correct? For each one of the answers that or problems that you got incorrect, you'll fill out one of these cards. So after we finish, you'll staple this to your answer sheet, and this will get you more credit and make sure that we know what you did incorrectly and how to get it correct next time. Okay? So, number one, a partial forest food web is shown. What role do bobcats play in the forest food web? Our answer is going to be B. Bobcats are consumers. They eat other organisms for energy. They consume marmots and grouses. I know the names of animals in here are kind of wild, but they are consumers. So B. Okay. A wetlands food chain is shown below. This is number 2. That's sun to duckweed to minnow to crayfish to raccoon. Which table shows the correct role of each organism? So it has the organism and then their role. Our answer is going to be D. The duckweed is a producer. It's a plant that makes its own energy. And then the other 3 are consumers. Okay. Number 3 says a partial desert food web is shown. Oh my gosh. He wants to be part of our corrections. Which type of organism is missing from the food web? So what are we missing here? Our answer is going to be decomposer. We have a producer. We have 2 producers. And then we have consumers. But we don't have a decomposer or anything that breaks down dead or decaying animals or plants. So A is our answer for number 3. Number 4, a partial forest food web is shown. La. How many types of organisms or living things in this food web obtain their energy directly from producers? Okay, so these are going to be our herbivores or consumers that only eat plants. Okay, number 4, our answer is B. Only 2 of them only get their energy directly from producers. So directly means there would be an arrow between the 2 and there's no pit stop in between. Okay, so here's our producer. A spider monkey gets its energy from the flowers, fruits, and leaves directly. And then a butterfly directly gets its energy from flowers, fruits, and leaves. So 2. 5. We have a partial food web here. What role do turkeys play in this food web? Our answer is going to be, what in the what? Our answer is going to be B. They are predators. Sorry, I had a brain fart for a second. Turkeys are predators. They have prey. Let's see here. No, they are consumers. Sorry. Excuse moi. They are going to be consumers. I don't know what happened right there. My brain had a whole fart situation. But they are consumers. They consume organisms for their food. Okay, so number 5 is C. Excuse me. Number 6 is going to be a partial hedgerow food web is shown below. Which table shows the correct role of organisms in the food web? So again, you have your organism and then its role. Our answer is going to be D. Earthworms are decomposers. They break down organisms that are dead and decaying. They are the end of the food web. Seeds are producers. They produce their own energy through photosynthesis. Plants. And then foxes are consumers. So D is our answer. Okay. Yes. Goodness. A partial swamp food web is shown below. Beep, beep. In this food web, energy is transferred directly between. If it's direct, that means there's an arrow between the two. There's no pit stop. It goes from one organism right to the next one, okay? And our answer for this one is going to be A, mosquitoes and mud skippers, okay? So we have our mosquitoes and mud skippers. So the energy is going directly between. Other ones, there's going to be a pit stop or they're not connected by an arrow. That is not your answer. Number 8, we have a tundra food web here. Based on the information in the food web, which of the following food chains shows one way energy flows in this ecosystem? Okay, so we're going to take a food chain out of this food web right here. So you're checking to make sure that these make sense and why. Our answer to this one is going to be D. So we have our lichen here, and it's going to transfer energy to a lemming and then to an ermine, beep, down here. And then we are going to transfer that energy to a fox, beep, up here. So you'll see how it makes sense. They pulled out this food chain. So our answer again to number 8 is D. Number 9, a partial food web is shown here. Which statement correctly describes the transfer of energy in a food chain in this ecosystem? So again, looking at a food web and pulling a food chain out and making one linear flow. Okay. Our answer is B. Energy is transferred from grasses to marmots and to bobcats. Okay. So it's going from grass to marmots and then to bobcats. Number 10, the table below lists some of the types of animals that live in an ecosystem and what they eat. Based on the information in the table, which of the following food chains shows one way energy flows in this ecosystem? So we're looking at their food sources or where they get energy and making sure that the flow of energy is correct. So you're just going to go through and double check them. The answer to number 10 is A. So the energy goes from leaves to caterpillars. That checks out. From caterpillars to raccoons. Yes. From raccoons to vultures. Yes, because vultures are going to eat dead, decaying animals like raccoons when they die. So A is your answer to 10. Number 11, we have our food web. Which organism in this food web eats only producers? So which one is an herbivore? Your answer is going to be B, because just our insects and fruit bats are the only ones that only eat this. Okay. Number 12, which organism in this food web only eats consumers? Okay, so something that is only eating consumers. And our answer is going to be C, the jaguar, caracara, and spider and poison dart frog only. Okay, so they feed on other consumers. The caracara, poison dart frog. You can see how they are the only ones that just eat other consumers. They don't eat plants. They are carnivores. Number 13, the diets of forest animals are described in the table below. Which of the following food chains is in the correct order? So again, just double checking the food chains to make sure that they make sense with where they get their energy. Okay, our answer is going to be D. Goes from leaves to caterpillar. Yes. Caterpillar to possum. Caterpillar to possum. And then from possum to owl. See, from possum to owl. Number 14, again, there's a table that describes energy sources for 4 unidentified organisms. So this time they don't tell you the name of them, but it's the same situation. Which statement correctly identifies the roles of the organisms? Okay, So we're going to go through and see which one's consumers, producers, based on where they get their energy, right? Right. Number 14 is going to be A. 1 and 3 are consumers because they are consuming other organisms for their energy, right? Number 2 would be a decomposer, and number 4 would be a producer, is making its own energy. Number 15, the table describes the energy sources of 4 unknown organisms. Same thing. Which table correctly identifies the roles of the organisms? So which one of these is correct based on that? And it's going to be B. Number 1 is a consumer because it's eating other animals or other organisms. It eats plants, so it's eating organisms as a consumer. Number 2 is a producer. It gets its energy from the sun. We know that's a plant using photosynthesis. Number 3 is a decomposer. And then number 4 eats these animals, and again, that would be a consumer. So 15 is B. Number 16, which organisms in the food web only eat other consumers? And our answer is going to be C, because hawks, bobcats, and owls are the only ones that eat just consumers. So they're eating other animals that have to consume something for their energy, right? They are carnivores. So that one is going to be C. 17, the diets of some forest animals are described in the table below. We have the type of animal and then its energy source or the food eaten. How many types of animals in this food web obtain energy directly from at least one producer? So direct meaning they get it straight from that source. There would be an arrow in between those two organisms on a food web or food chain. And so we're looking for something that eats at least one producer. And our answer here is going to be D, 4. Okay, so if we count it out here, raccoons would be 1 because they eat berries. Slugs would be 1 because they eat berries. Deer eat grass and leaves, and then caterpillars eat leaves. So 4 organisms get their energy from producers. And it says at least one producer. So just because they eat other things doesn't disqualify them. So 17 is D. Number 18, a partial food web of organisms who live in and around the Amazon River is shown below. Which change would most likely occur if all of the producers in this ecosystem were removed? So if we no longer had our water plants, what would happen? Our answer here is going to be C. The populations of consumers would decrease. So the things that eat plants would decrease, and then things that eat those things would decrease as well, because we know that animals either will adapt, move, or die, and all 3 of those things would mean that they're not going to be there anymore. It would decrease. Number 19, again, we have the Amazon River food web. Which statement describes the transfer of energy in a food chain in this ecosystem? So pulling a food chain out of this food web and double checking to make sure it makes sense. Our answer is going to be B, water plants to capybaras. So from water plants straight to the capybaras. And then from them to the caimans, and then boop, you see there's the arrow right there. So that one makes sense. Number 19 is B. Number 20, which organisms do not directly consume another organism for energy? Okay, so we're going to look which ones are not eating other organisms for energy. We know that the answer is going to be B, cacti and seeds, because they produce their own energy through photosynthesis because they are producers. Okay, make sure you have filled out your claim evidence reasoning with the correct answers. Complete sentences, that way you get your full credit. And have a good day.